Hello, lovely friend. I am Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
We are doctors,
weight management and metabolic health experts. We are the creators of My Metabolic Action Plan,
your two-step map to real health and weight loss,
which is in fact the name of this podcast.
Join my map now at rlmedicine.com. Hello, lovely friend, and welcome to this episode of the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast. I am Dr. Mary Barson, and as ever, I am joined by my beautiful blonde colleague, Dr. Lucy Burns. How are you, fabulous human?
Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Very well, feeling very bright and festive in my pink and orange, which if you're listening, obviously you can't see, but just imagine.
They can maybe hear it.
Yes. And I do wear a lot of bright colours these days. I used to always have a black and grey wardrobe, and I think bright colours just makes you feel better.
Yeah, I use all the tools available to you. I love that. I love it. Well, it is quite cold here where I live in southern Victoria, and when it's cold, I find that my motivation for certain things does decline. And in particular, my motivation to get outside and walk the dog in the morning is quite tricky. And I've just lately been using this mindset tool that has just been helpful because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't walking the dog for a few days in a row and it was feeling bad and the poor dog was suffering. And then I just remembered this mindset tool where I was really focusing on the effort of getting out, getting cold, being rained on, all of these things, and that was just making it seem insurmountable where I could just stay inside in my hoodie instead. But I just realised how much relief I would get if I did this activity, how much better I would feel. I would feel I was looking after my dog, that I was getting outside, getting in sunlight, getting that bit of movement. And then when I focused on how much relief I would get, then it became so much easier for me to just put on my gumboots, put on a coat, take the poor dog for a walk in the rain. And so I thought this could be a good podcast to talk about this mindset tool of focusing on the benefit and not the effort.
Yes, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, what we do and what we don't do quite often is all dependent on what's going on in our head.
Yes, totally.
You know, it can sometimes seem like the world's plotting against you. Maybe I'm feeling like that at the moment. Who knows? But I think it's that old Henry Ford quote, you know, whether you can or whether you can't, you're absolutely right, depending on what you decide. Now, if you decide you can't do something, yeah. And again, we need to be sensible. Like, you know, you can't fly off a building. Let's be reasonable. But within the realms of, you know, reasonableness, if you've told yourself you can't do it, or that it's too hard, or that it's too cold, or that it's too wet, yeah, you won't do it.
That's right. And it's an interesting thought exercise. Like, what if one of the biggest things standing between where you are right now and where you want to be with your health goals isn't laziness, it isn't lack of willpower, it's not lack of knowledge, but it's just what you're paying attention to. And if you pay more attention to the benefit that you get rather than the effort that it will cost, it could be much easier. And I think that it's natural. Most of us will naturally focus on how hard something is. That's just human nature. And our brain will often exaggerate the effort and minimize the reward because we have this recency bias right now. Our brain will prioritize short-term comfort over long-term goals. And that kind of just unfortunately is human nature. It's what we're wired to do. It's part of our survival strategy. If we feel good and comfortable, our brain equates that with feeling safe, and safe is good, and we want to feel safe. And so we will actually prioritize being safe, in inverted commas, over the fact that we care about our dog and that we care about our health and that we care about all of these long-term goals. But we can help circumvent this by just shifting our attention. And this just one little psychological technique that can make those healthy habits so much easier. Focus on the benefit, not the effort.
Absolutely. And, you know, you talked about the recency bias, and we can talk a bit about the reticular activating system, which is part of our brain that filters information. So there is a lot of information that comes in every day, every minute, lots of signaling, different colors, different lights, different sounds. It's having to process it all. It actually can't take it all in. So it filters it into what it thinks is important. And it works very much like the bloody Instagram algorithm. What you think is important is what will show you. So if you've spent time saying this is going to be hard, it will show you how hard it is. If you spend time, as you've mentioned, focusing on the benefit, it will start to show you how beneficial it is. And this is the concept of a habit, if you like. A habit is something that you do without a whole lot of thought. You might have a little bit of thought, but it's not tons. You're not having to ask, back and forwards with yourself. You just kind of do it because all of a sudden your brain has focused on the benefit of doing this thing, and the difficulty or the hardship becomes diminished.
Yes, and it is a really simple thing to do. And just go back to the exercise example perhaps, but this could be meal prep, it could be going to bed, it could be anything,
Doing your tax.
Doing your tax, tax time, totally boring. We have an internal dialogue, and it might not be an internal dialogue with full on, words and internal conversations. I have that. I have conversations with myself, but not everybody does that. Sometimes it can just be thoughts and feelings that are going on. But the exercise, our brain wants to magnify the cost. It's cold. I'm tired. It'll take too long. The meal preparation, I can't be bothered. It's just easy to order takeaway. Going to bed, just one more episode of this Chinese melodrama that I'm watching. I'm into Chinese melodramas at the moment. I speak a bit of Chinese, so I really quite like them. But I do need to go to bed though and not start watching them. Or the paperwork, the tax, I'll do it tomorrow. Because our brain does, it's focusing, our reticular activating system is focusing on the inconvenience, the discomfort, the effort, while ignoring the better health, the achievement, the confidence, the reduced stress, the fact that we'll be achieving our goals. But if we can flip the question, instead of, do I feel like doing it? Do I feel like doing my tax this afternoon? The answer is going to be no. But if you flip the question and instead ask, what benefit am I buying with this investment? What am I buying? The answers are going to be completely different. So with exercise, it's not, I have to go for a walk. It's, I am investing in my health, my mental health, my muscles, and, the well-being of my dog. And that becomes just much easier. And it doesn't actually become that hard to grab your gumboots and your coat. And instead of, I have to go to bed, you can think, I am giving tomorrow's me a gift of an extra hour's sleep. And that becomes much easier.
Yes. Well, for sleep, I've got a little line, which is I'm heading to my rejuvenation palace.
There you go.
So I'm not going to bed, because going to bed feels punitive, That was always the stories in nursery rhymes and fairy tales that you got spanked and had to go to bed early. So it was like, and everyone, I always wanted to stay up late. And so, it feels boring to go to bed. Whereas I'm off to my rejuvenation palace without my biohacking red mask. But I am, giving my glymphatic system time to get rid of all the metabolic waste in my brain. So, yes, they're the benefits, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. I love that. The other thing that is interesting to know for some people's brains is there is a phrase I like to call noble procrastination. And what that is instead of your brain focusing on the activity, like the walk, because part of you knows that you could probably talk yourself into it. So it's not about, it's too cold, it's too wet, it's too horrible, because your brain might go, they're pretty soft excuses, you should just go. It will prioritize other people's needs so that you're too busy to go. So it might tell you, I would love to go for a walk, but, I have to help blah, blah, or I would love to go for a walk, but I have to, I don't know, vacuum the house. I don't know, said no one ever, but maybe. Or I would love to go for a walk, but I have to do this project at work. So there's someone else's needs or some other priority ahead of your own that your brain will use, because it kind of is already rationalized. Well, I can't just say it's too cold.
Absolutely. My brain is a master at this. I will think about every single thing that I could possibly do for everybody in my life rather than chunking in and prioritizing those things that are initially a bit effortful but are going to help me. I am very good at subordinating my own needs for other people. It's just a real, it's a vulnerability I have that I need to guard against. And again, really focus on what am I buying with this effort? And I can actually use that part of my brain to advantage. I can sort of think about how, well, going for the walk and protecting my health actually is going to help the people that need me more long term, and I'm a typical sandwich generation woman. I am, I've got young kids and elderly parents. I'm pulled in both directions. And honestly, no one is completely indispensable, but I do have people who need me. And that can be a real curse and a drain, but I can take that. I value being able to care for people. And so therefore I care for myself and I focus on that benefit. This is what I am buying with a small investment of my effort.
Absolutely. And I mean, this at its very heart is the thought model. The thoughts, we use this a lot. Your thoughts determine your feelings and actions. And thoughts can come and go. We can make up our own thoughts. Not all thoughts are true that we think. And so a useful technique is to ask yourself, what is the most useful way to think about this problem or this action? Because we do an action when we want a certain outcome. So the whole reason you want to go for a walk is, well, you want your dog to be exercised so it doesn't chew the house down. You want your body to be moving so that you've got good muscles. You want your eyeballs to see the sunlight so you can sleep well tonight. So you've got all of these outcomes that you want. You've got the action that will get you those outcomes. And the only thing stopping you, therefore, is your thoughts and feelings. So when you think it's cold, it's going to be cold and wet, you feel unmotivated. You're not likely to do the action to get the outcome. You can change that thought, as you said, and it can be all sorts of things. Like I would be thinking, at least I don't have to go for a walk in Norway where it's -20. That is my way to, or I always do default to this. When something feels a little bit hard, I think of what is the harder thing. When I'm cooking dinner, at least I don't have to go and shoot a bison and skin it.
That's right. You don't have to go and scratch the turnips out of the frozen ground with a stick.
No, to get my food.
Yeah.
To go to bed, at least I have a comfortable bed. I'm not lying in a box with a piece of plastic over me in my rejuvenation palace. There are so many ways that you can make what you think is hard feel, because all about feeling, feel easier.
Mm. And I love something that you have done recently too, Lucy, which is actually turn the thing that is hard into the benefit. So when you swim, I remember you talking about swimming in your cold water and how it was helpful for you to do this in the morning, but the pool could be bloody cold. But you told yourself, no, good hormesis. And you would say, the colder the better. The colder the better. I mean, obviously there is a common sense limit to this, but it was helpful for you, to just do the thing that was helpful. The colder the better.
Yeah, because and again, even thinking about the brisk walk, sometimes I'll sit outside in the morning, getting my morning light. I might do some meditating. It might be a bit chilly, but I think about that hormesis effect and I think, well, actually a bit of cold is good for you. Doesn't have, we don't have to be living in this super comfortable environment that we have created for ourselves, that the comfort is actually killing us. That's part of the whole idea. So getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, we've spoken about that many times. It's actually not a bad thing to have a little bit of discomfort. What we want to do is we don't want the discomfort. Again, it's hard, isn't it? We don't want the discomfort to be extreme because we'll stop doing it.
But yeah, that's a little thought thing I do is I'm training for discomfort. I'm training for discomfort, when I'm walking up a hill and it's not pleasant. This is good. This discomfort is good.
We know that growth happens on the edges of your comfort zone. Nothing happens in the middle of your comfort zone. You just sit there like a, beanbag. Whereas when you're on the edge of that comfort zone, just outside your comfort zone, again, it might feel a little bit scary. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay. When we go too far outside our comfort zone, that's probably when we've, again, taken things to extreme. Then it doesn't feel safe for our brain and we are unlikely to continue on with it. So it's always around the edges.
And the beautiful thing about being on the edges of your comfort zone is that your comfort zone grows and expands. A kind of obvious example of this is getting fitter and stronger. The more you sort of move and exercise, the fitter and stronger you become. That what is comfortable and easy grows and expands. But the same thing happens with us psychologically. The same thing happens with habits, just changing our eating habits. If we're just pushing it a little bit, it becomes easier, it becomes comfortable, it becomes second nature. And like you said, that is where growth happens.
Yeah, and that then becomes just a habit that you do. You just eat, cook at home most of the time. Again, doesn't mean all of the time. I get takeaway every now and then. I'll go out for dinner, not infrequently. We used to eat, we used to do a lot of frozen pizzas. Aldi did this pizza that was goat's cheese and beetroot, which sort of sounded healthy.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, and so I think, oh, well, good, we'll just have that for dinner. And I sort of I just look at, every now and then look back and think, wow, God, ignorance. Whereas now I look.
You have grown and changed.
Indeed.
Which is a great thing.
Yeah. And that's not to say that, if I ate an Aldi goat's cheese and pizza, whatever, beetroot pizza now, I would be racked with guilt and shame about my actions. I wouldn't, because it doesn't help me. It's about knowing and then making decision around that knowledge. And again, we teach a lot of that in all of our programs. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. You're the boss of you. What we want people to be able to do is make choices with the full knowledge of the implications of their action, and they may choose to do that. It's a bit like alcohol. I love drinking a glass of wine. It's not good for me. There's no illusions in my brain that what I'm doing is good for me. But I am happy to take that bit of knowledge and use it, and know that if I was to develop a regular wine habit with, probably more than the level, certainly more than the levels I drink now, that would be a problem. The way I look at it now, it's not a problem, but I'm not pretending. And again, I wasn't pretending that Aldi pizzas were good for me. I just didn't know. And it's the same, I think. So, yeah, so I guess, the summary being, I don't even know why I'm waffling on about this, but education is really helpful so that you've got the right knowledge, because without the right knowledge, you go in the wrong direction.
That's right. You could have all the mindset tools in the world, but without the right knowledge, you're implementing the wrong things.
Yes. So that's where that circle, where that wafty little thing is going. You need two things. You need the right knowledge and you need the implementation tools, because knowledge without implementing means you don't go anywhere. And the wrong knowledge, but implementing means you actually go in the wrong direction.
Precisely.
Yes. So there we go. All right, my friends. As always, if you're wanting the right knowledge and you want some implementation tools, of course, you can come and join us in my metabolic action plan. This is what we do day in, day out with all of our lovely peeps. So there we go.
We're lovely to see you there. But wherever you are, just think this week about what can you do to focus on the benefit rather than the cost, and make those healthy changes easy. Bye now.
Bye now. The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.